I'm going to share my opinion on a subject that kind of gets contentious and people get kind of heated about it. And so, everything that I say, I'm not saying it because I'm trying to tell other people that they're wrong. I just don't operate in that way anymore. It's just my perspective on the matter. Um, so, regarding, and like, I understand that there are plenty of large issues right now. There's war tensions, and that's like a really big deal. But I still kind of feel like I want to share my opinions about this particular subject. Just because it's something that I've thought for a long time, I feel like maybe a lot of people aren't really opening their minds enough to maybe view this particular topic in a different way or consider the possibility that their perspectives are harshly limited when it comes to this topic. And it does pertain to, the happiness of a percentage of the population of people. And really what I would like to see is a world where everybody can live in a peaceful way, in a way that feels good to them. So when it comes to transgender people in sports, I will see a percentage of people get really heated about the unfair advantage over females. So, like, if you have a transgender woman who is born male who is competing against other women who are born female, and listen, you guys, I don't care what anyone says. My perspective on this is my perspective, and I feel secure as hell in it. So, any kind of like hatefulness is just going to be ignored, really. There's like there's a whole bunch of sticky shit that needs to be unpacked as far as that perspective, that it's creating an unfair playing field in the world of sports. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys an example. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while. I liked it. I stopped going. There's an embarrassing story about why I stopped going, but I would do it again in the right conditions. The gym that I had been going to for it was very much like throw you to the wolves kind of a place. And so you would start rolling, pretty much the first class, you'd learn like one move, and that's how it would go. He would teach like one or two moves, and then everybody start rolling. And so it was like really intimidating, but I noticed something really interesting because you roll with a lot of different people. It's mostly men. I'm not a huge person. Compared to these men, I was quite a bit smaller than them. Well, some of them were way stronger than me, like, don't even stand a chance. You guys, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. Some of those guys who were tall, bigger bone structure, they were not as strong as I was. Okay? I realized in some of those instances, of course I didn't tell them that because they probably wouldn't have liked that very much. But in some of those instances, my skill was absolutely terrible. So as far as that goes, I was very lacking. But I realized, like, with some of those guys, I was like, I could totally take this guy down because I lift weights. Some of those guys don't. Just because somebody is a male in a genetically male body does not mean that they have all this muscle hanging off of them. Okay, so there's that part of it. And there was one guy in particular who was like 6-something, way taller than me. And I was like, if I wanted to, I could probably pick this guy up and throw him. So like, I started to notice that, ooh, danger across the street. I started to notice that just because like size and gender doesn't necessarily equate to strength. So there's that first part of it. The other part of it is, I know I have seen women who are very tall, 6 feet plus, okay, that are also just very strong. We can see it in sports. I just don't buy this whole story that men are stronger than women, period. It doesn't work like that. Think about how bodies are so different. Men and women in different races and all the different everything going on. There's so many differences and variations when it comes to Please, okay, I was folding laundry when I decided to. There's a lot of laundry that I have to fold, so please just ignore that mess. It's not just like that simple, okay? Like there are a lot of women that are strong and could totally compete against a lot of men and win. There are a lot of men out there that are not necessarily strong enough to take down a lot of other women, okay? So it's just not everybody works out. Everybody's body is built different. I don't buy that. And here's the thing that kind of, for me personally, kind of icks me out a little bit. There's almost like so people get really attached to their gender roles, and that's fine. I don't know. I like being female. I think it's fun. I like girly stuff, and that's okay. But I'm not like attached to it. There are people that get really attached to their gender roles, like to the point where they'll be angry and nasty over it, and there's sort of like this mentality that kind of reminds me of like the 50s culture, like an infantilization of women, kind of like you need a man to protect you. I feel like we've kind of surpassed, I feel like partnerships are equal. It's not like your man is there to protect you. I feel like those days are kind of over. But I see that kind of energy in a lot of those conversations when it comes to gender. And I think that makes a lot of men who maybe have some unbalanced macho issues feel really good. Yeah, I need a woman that needs me to protect them. And the idea of somebody who's genetically born male being female is too unsettling for them to consider. Like, women are supposed to be some sort of like dependent that they need to take care of. I don't know. That just doesn't sit well with me. It feels kind of gross. Like, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just speaking freely about how I see it. So that's kind of a scattered explanation of my take on are men actually stronger than women. I do not think that's the case. I'm at the gym lifting weights, and I can see how much I'm lifting and how much. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm just saying, just because somebody is a male does not mean that they're automatically going to be stronger. I think the solution, and I think there's actually a really good solution, when people awaken enough, I think that this is how it's going to change in society. So, okay, I loved the series Battlestar Galactica. I never watched the 70s ones, but I watched the ones made in the 2000s. Loved it. I've probably watched the whole series like 4 times. And the men and women in that show, there's like a equal, like, cause like the military aspect of it, they're equal. It's not like the women are over here and the men are over here and you do this and you do that. There's like a really healthy balance. And I understand it's just a TV show, but I feel healthy balance. And I'm not into the military personally, but whatever, it's a good show. When it comes to sports, and this is my experience with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually informed this perspective quite a bit that I have. It shouldn't be based on gender. Weight class, like they do with fighting and stuff like that. Weight class, although they do separate gender, but I'm saying they also have weight class. I think you could do away with splitting genders up when it comes to different types of sports and base it on weight class. Okay, because a woman who's, let's say, 5'11" and works out a lot and maybe 160, 70 pounds, something like that, she's going to be really strong. She's going to be able to handle competing against men in that same category. So people who work out, I think that, because here's what I've seen. Some men put on muscle really easily. Some do not. Some do not. I remember these skinny little friends in high school trying to put on weight constantly in the weight room, constantly trying to eat the right things, and just skinny little guys. And then some of these guys, like, man, it's just like they just beef up so quickly. And it's the same with women. There's just genetic differences. So I really don't think it's healthy for us as a species to cling to these old, outdated, rigid ideas about gender, and like as if it's like law. I think that in a, like I had mentioned before, in a world where you have sports, and really sports aren't that important. It's not that big of a deal, you guys. It really should just be about fun and entertainment. But people get so worked up about it as if it's so important. But like, I think it would work. I think it would work really well, and it would eliminate a lot of these issues. And I really want to see us, so like the female male thing is fine. It's fun. Okay? Like, I think that's something we can still keep. We can bring that with us. But letting go of that rigidity as if it's so important, and blocking other members of society out of experience because it makes us uncomfortable isn't healthy. So we can be in a world where everybody can express themselves. People can still have their gender roles that are fun. And sports, I don't know, I feel it can be open and inclusive and more fun. So I really want to put it out there. Guys, be careful with that infantilization of women thing. And women, be careful about that. Yeah, this one, I don't know, man. I don't get that many views as I mentioned, but I'm kind of afraid of what people are going to say, but I don't know. I don't care. That's pretty much all I want to say about it right now. So thanks for watching. Bye.